Well, and the problem with perfectionism also is this, you're on this path of diminishing returns, right? Like
Mm.
getting something to 80 or even 90% of perfection is probably more than enough, because the last, 10% of perfection, the time, it's probably like 50, 75, 80% of your time. And so like you're into this zone where, does anybody actually realize what that difference is? And does it actually matter? And
Right.
you know what? There are life and death circumstances where safety or some other factor, it matters. Let's
It
not
matters.
question that. But
Yeah.
in most of the things we do in our life, it doesn't matter. And so, it's like when people have weddings and they're like, just go and enjoy the day, because if something goes wrong, the chances are only you're going to know.
Mm.
Right? Like it's that
Yeah,
same
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
mentality of like, just go, and you have to sort of like let go of some of those perfectionist feelings in order to make progress.
Right. It's no facts. It's really facts. I know that I'm even um without saying too much, getting my way into more of the wedding community too. What I found, and even from my experience of going to weddings, what do
Mm,
people remember? People remember the venue, people remember, the ambience, people remember the DJ, people remember
yes,
the music that they danced to. They don't remember if the takeaway was the perfect periwinkle blue, right?
exactly.
Right.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
that goes into what we were talking about some books ago, the Pareto principle, where
Mm,
20%, right, is in
it's
charge of the
totally
80%.
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of women
Yeah.
fear that if we stop playing small, and this can go for men too. So just to answer
Mhm.
invest questions, greetings, is this life women centric? No, it's not. It's for everybody who is achieving a goal, but and it's valid across the board. Um,
Mhm.
However, a lot of women fear that if we stop playing small, women and men,
Yeah.
we'll lose those relationships, we'll lose
Mm.
approval, we'll lose stability. How
Mhm.
do you coach women through that fear?
I think it's about, it depends on the person. So there's some of that, but some of the things that you would work through would be, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen if it
Hmm,
doesn't go right?
hmm,
Let's talk about that. And it's like, oh, well, I might feel embarrassed, or it might be damaging to my business, or I might lose some money, or so you've got to kind of work through the like, okay, let's go to the worst case scenario.
hmm,
And what's the likelihood of the worst case scenario? So maybe it's like not a win, but it's not really a fail. Like it's just kind of a nothing, right? And what's
hmm,
the cost of that? Is there a cost? Because if not, why not try?
hmm.
And then how could you mitigate the worst things happening? Right.
Right,
So, and how could you start to feel like you can take some risks and try things and learn from them and keep trying more things?
right, right. Like not putting the results, not tying the results to your identity, basically.
Yeah, and not
Right.
tying your results to the first time you try something necessarily, right? Because, like,
Right.
you didn't learn to ride a bicycle the first time you sat on one. You didn't learn to ice skate the first time you put on skates and stood on the ice.
Yeah,
And I think as children, we were very accepting of that. We
yeah,
were very accepting that, you had to ride a bike 20 times before you actually got that little coast in and, felt the glow of that win.
yeah,
But as
yeah.
adults, we have this thing where it's one and done. Like if we can't do it the first time, it's a failure.
Right.
And that's really the wrong way to look at things, but we all do it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And two, before a couple weeks ago, we were talking about reframing failure,
Right.
and one of the books that I was reading, it was well, a lot of them. Basically, the theme was see failure as data,
Yes.
right? Not
Yes.
don't
What am I taking
personalize.
away here? What am I learning from it? And where can I go from there?